before the market like
Oh, it's that
changed
long
too.
ago, huh?
Yeah.
I
Yep.
don't think it's changed hands though, right?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I can look it up to see if it has, but
Maybe they're ready to sell. I mean, yeah, because
Welcome back to the
blah blah
Alchemist
blah.
Nation Podcast. This is Walter Murillo and Michael Shine, Mitch Jorsky, and today we're interviewing Greg Leblanc. Mitch, bring us in.
Hey,
No, Michael Shine, bring us in.
Massive income from passive income from
How do
my
we do it,
Tesla.
Mitch?
we organize and we collect.
Because the point is not to work, it's to generate income. So, Greg Leblanc, I got you as the man who went from cell blocks to 200 units in multifamily. Also, my business partner. So, we're going to dive into this podcast today, just kind of get an idea of what that title even means. So, how did you get into real estate?
yeah, I started about 20 years ago actually when I first started at the prison, working at the prison. Bought my first three family, lived in it, and then 2 years later bought my second property. It was a two family, lived in it, and then after that I just completely stopped investing. So,
So, you completely stopped investing.
yep.
So, one, you were ahead of me because you went and invested in a multifamily before Bigger Pockets. I did not invest until, Brandon Turner and Josh Dorkin were like, this is the coolest thing ever. Investing is like the smartest thing ever. You should all invest. You were doing it before that. How did you even find out about investing?
I just when I started, I wanted to be free, and free means for me financially, working that W-2, and I wanted to be able to have that extra income coming in. So that's kind of how I house hacked, and from there, that's
A
when I say, go ahead.
guy who was working in a prison wanted to be free. Just,
Yes.
There's gonna be a lot of prison jokes on
Dun,
this
dun.
podcast. Like I already feel it. So
Yeah.
what you're saying, Greg, is you got tired of being in the prison system.
yeah.
Yep. I
Would you
did.
say that you were institutionalized?
Now, yes, absolutely. When I first started, no, but over time, you become numb to a lot of stuff, and definitely institutionalized. There's certain things that I notice that I do now, just getting out of it, still, in that routine. So,
Easy.
So you said some stuff to me when we were at properties in Jackson that you have to negotiate differently in a prison system. When you're in the building, there are certain Spanish words you know. Like you don't know Spanish, but you do know Spanish words that are a threat for you. So how what does that look like?
it's basically just called prison Spanish. I mean, you pick up on certain terms and words, and that I think for me, my biggest like strength in all of what I do is just being a really good listener and a really good observer, and that translates well to like the acquisitions side of things, being able to ask a question and then just the very little nuances of the way your voice changes, and just reading people. That's definitely a strength for me.
That
So,
actually goes back
hey,
to
so
what you do in the company. So yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I got a quick question. So, you were in the prison system and now you're out with a pension. So you finished and stayed in.
Yes, that's correct. I will be done officially in February, but right now I don't have to step foot inside again. That's true.
Is that so? That's interesting because a lot of the people come to Coalter want to quit their job on day one, and we constantly say don't do that. Yeah,
Don't quit your job. I'll
yeah.
say it here on the podcast. Don't quit your job. But Greg, do you remember how I said it? Do you remember the conversation we were having like 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
Yeah, it was about 4 years ago. I was just super motivated, but I was so close to hitting that 20. So Walter and I definitely worked together, and became partners obviously too, but just he
Nice
said
job.
he said it, don't quit it, just continue to do what you're doing. And it's almost like I did two jobs, and it's obviously paid off. So
Yeah, I mean, in the last 2 years, you picked up almost 200 units. In fact, you had 35 units in 2023, then you picked up another 80 units right at the beginning of this year, 25.
Yes.
You got another 76 units under agreement that'll close in the next 45 days. And there it is, right? And then you have another 135 units under agreement that'll close in February. So full timeline of the last 2 years compared to the first 2 years of building this plan, there wasn't a whole heck of a lot going on, but you somehow shimmied your way into acquisitions. Why did you choose acquisitions instead of ops or cap raising? What was it about finding the deals that obviously you just share like how you do it, your technique, but why is it that deal finding is more interesting to you than the other aspects of the business?
I'd have to say it's not the most exciting, but I mean, I feel like that's one thing that I'm really good at. And when I first started off, in your community and working with you, I threw in, over 1,200 offers, literally,
Wow.
locked myself into I was going through a divorce at the time, but locked myself into my room on the weekends when I didn't have my son, and just, analyzed deals and just learned as much as I could about the acquisition side of things. So, I mean, that part, I love dealing with the broker, and I love getting the story of the property and just building something.
Yeah, you're the first person who has actually read Get the Deal. So
Nice job. I got a question. When you I see a lot of people, especially in Walter's community, who don't know how to start in a new city. So what's your first step when we say let's go to Jackson or let's go to Decatur? What's the first step?
Yeah, I mean, I could probably teach a class on it because it's not just, this is what I do, but it starts off with population growth and job growth and what the income supports for rents and obviously businesses and jobs are top of all of that. And then you go down to the little nuances. So
that's it. Yeah, that's
Nice.
how you pick the market. And then from the point where you pick a market, what are some of the deal sourcing strategies that you use? I like this line of questioning because I know intimately what he does, but
Yeah.
you're right. For the sense of the podcast, he's a deal finding expert. He literally finds the deals that have so much meat on the bone that it makes cap raising and operations actually easier because there's just so much meat on the bone when we get into these things.
Awesome.
So what are some of the places you start once you do pick a market? Once you've identified a market, you say, okay, this is a spot that I'm going to go into. And actually, what are things that you do look for when you're picking a market? What are some things that are good? So you mentioned you look for population, you look for growth, you look for jobs, but in those, like what size market do you look for? What kind of population are you looking for? What direction do you want the population to be going in? Share a little bit of
yeah,
that before we
so
dive into the techniques.
I mean, you're looking for population 150,000 or larger, and it doesn't have to be that city. It could be 45 minutes, but you want to be 45 minutes outside of that location, just because that's where you're driving to with your jobs. And then I can get down to the minute, like how close is the Starbucks, how close is the Whole Foods, how close is the hospital, of the location of the property itself. But when it comes to the actual, like, picking the actual city, you don't want it to be on the very top. You don't want to buy at the top. So I think that's what you were asking.
Yeah. So basically, uh, yeah, 150,000 population. We look for job growth. We look for prices to come up a little bit. Some of the things that I know I watch out for, like you said, Starbucks is a good sign. If we're looking for monster cash flow, I will say that the Dollar Tree is something that I'm looking for. If I see the Dollar Tree, I'm like, okay, this is
That's
the
awesome.
hood.
Yeah.
Dollar anything, I'm pretty sure.
Uh,
It's gonna be a
Checks,
tougher
checks,
area.
checks cashed.
Well,
The
Checks
checks
that's
cashed.
cashed,
actually that's a
the
better one, Mike, because
laundry mats.
yeah, everything's relative. I mean, in theory, like I live in a nice area. I have a dollar store and a Dollar Tree like within a mile. I also have everything else
Really?
you can
Mitch,
think of.
here's a surprise for you. You don't live in a nice area.
Oh, I do. Because I also have all the Starbuckses, all the Targets, all the,
Wow.
everything.
Yeah.
So
So,
the reason why you choose a Starbucks is because they've already done the research
yep.
for you.
Right. Right.
Same thing with like even like chain restaurant, like franchise restaurants, like Applebee's,
Right.
things like that. I
Yep.
mean, like even those medium, level restaurants, because like they've done the research. And then
Yep.
that's also like kind of that, income working class community for restaurants like that. So,
Yep.
So
Okay,
when
story time.
yeah, wait, I got a quick question.
Go ahead.
When you, so I just back to my question. What I hear people, they say, "Oh, if you're going into a new town or city, first thing you do is you call up a bunch of commercial realtors." I mean, is that what you do, or do you have some secret magic sauce that avoids that route?
Yeah, so number one in real estate is your relationships. It's just that's what it's all about, you know. So starting off, Crexy, LoopNet, that's how I started off. You reaching out to those brokers, and it's not necessarily for that deal itself. It's just for pretty much just having that relationship. So you're throwing that offer on that deal, ask them any questions that they can answer, ask if you can get on their mailing list. And once you're on that mailing list, just reach out to them. You know, depending on that location, I was reaching out to them every week or two. And just like Walter did with his Cleveland deal, you just hound that broker and, what do you got for me? We're gonna buy 1,000 units in this location and just continue to, it's not just
Amazing.
about, what do you got for me? It's the relationship itself. So, in my phone, I can pull up my notes and I can tell you this broker has 2 kids. This broker has, and then you remember that as you go through the whole process and it becomes personal, some of those relationships you'll have for the rest of your life. And that's another reason why that I love real estate so much because of this community, because of the relationships.
Yeah,
That's
it's true.
awesome.
Like these brokers make monster paychecks when we close these deals. They're they're not small deals. The fact the one we just did in Cleveland was a $350,000 commission. So there was a these guys fought for it. They worked for it. But they're taking us out to lunch. We're having a good time together. It's a crazy process, but the relationships with the brokers have been tremendous for us. Greg, I got to ask you a story. So, speaking of neighborhoods, speaking of cities, you and I went out to Jackson, Mississippi, and yes, we toured our property. That was a blast. Me and Mitch went out there with you a year before we purchased it. But when you and I went out the last time, I was I was having an experience. I wanted to have a local experience. I really wanted to feel the Jackson vibes. You remember that? So I was like, bro, let's go get some food. Let's eat around our property. Let's go check out the restaurants. Maybe talk to the locals. How did that go?
Well, we learned a lot. Um, I'd have to say, like, this is kind of a side note, but um, the bigger that you can get outside your comfort zone, the bigger your goals are. And I do feel like we did that day. We went into the bad area, and experienced that. And not,
Not during the day. We
yeah,
didn't go
no.
during the day.
And I did it once again when I was out there this past week. It's just, you feel that community. You feel, what's going on there. And I don't want to go into too much details, but I mean, we basically went and tried to order at a Chinese. Was it Chinese?
We tried
Yeah.
to walk into a Chinese restaurant
Yes.
and
And
it became a drive-through.
yeah, it was a drive-through. And we don't think that there was really anybody in there. There was like chairs up on the windows. It was strange.
There was just a lady at the drive-through.
Wow.
It
Yeah.
was like it was a Chinese restaurant with a drive-through. Figure that out. And then we started going down the street. The Pizza Hut was a drive-through.
Yeah.
The every single restaurant that was should have been a you walk in, sit down restaurant were all drive-throughs. They had all windows cut into them and people there at the sides, but and like you could not walk into the building. That was the way this thing was structured. Every single one of these restaurants was nobody's coming in here. It's you get your food and then you leave. You can eat in the parking lot. We don't care. But it was like they had originally not been that way because the Chinese restaurant had a sitting dining room area that looked like a storage room. Either this was a front for a business, but it was
Yeah.
a crazy experience. So, Greg, that was our experience. And I was asked by the guys in Cleveland, so that consulting firm, that was humbling for me and you to actually go and ask them to come down and manage Jackson. So I want to go into that decision. But when they asked me what it's like, they're like, "Yo, is it like East Cleveland?" I said, "East Cleveland is nice compared to Jackson."
Yes.
Because these guys don't know, right? Like they are used to operating in the hood. Absolutely. East Cleveland is hood. But at least you can walk into the pizza shop. At least the pizza parlor allows you to walk inside. So when I answered the question, I was like, well, in Jackson, we've had people walk across our properties with assault rifles. It's actually lost us investors because they were like, oh no, that's a hard no for me. So what what was it that made us bring these guys in? Do you remember why? Like, because you said, would they? Like, is this something that we could do? What made you say that this was a good idea?
Well, I'd have to say, one, I see how well they're doing in Cleveland. I see the certain things daily and weekly that you and I are both learning from them. And
Hold on a second, pause.
yeah,
You guys segued, but to people that have no idea, they're probably lost. So you said guys in Cleveland asked you. So you're talking about operational guys. Who are these people that you're talking about for those that don't know?
yeah. So Walter purchased 400 units out in Cleveland with his significant other, and for Emerson as well. And when he did that, he did it with the understanding of this is really big, and we he went and got a consulting firm. So that's the consulting firm that he's talking about, that we're talking about in Cleveland.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
we bought Cleveland. We had staff in place, but I didn't want to manage the staff, so I brought in a consulting firm to manage them. Best move of my life because you hire a property management company, now you got literally nobody helping you when you remove them. But when you own the staff and you bring a consulting firm in, if you've got to take over, all it is the management leaves, but you still have all of your people in place. So as you start scaling up, it makes a lot more sense to have, a consulting firm in place. So Greg, yeah, you were seeing reporting. I think you saw a lot of reporting, and then I was bringing systems over, and you were implementing those. Uh, yeah, that was it was humbling for me. It was humbling, one, to ask them in the first place to do Cleveland, and then two, to bring them into Jackson. Uh, but there's a lot of
What
benefits
is
to it. What are
the
some of the benefits you're looking at?
well, Walter? Can you hear me? Can you hear me,
Yep,
Walter? I'm
I
just
hear you,
wondering
Mike.
Sorry, what's the extra cost of a consulting firm above property management company? Like, how
That's
much does that add to the?
So what I'll say is that's complex, right? And so here's the big difference. Most property management companies are not actually vertically integrated. They're too small to be very cost effective for you. So they most of the time just hire out contractors. You get slammed on the renovations.
Right, right.
Whereas with a consulting firm, you have your own staff. You have your own people who are doing all the unit turns. Their job is to get more out of your staff. So to get more efficiencies out of your people. So these guys actually train our staff on how to do HVAC, on how to do plumbing, on how to do light electrical. So our guys are able to do light work, and our consulting firm has the licenses. So these guys are working underneath those global licenses. So it makes it uh, cost effective, like two to three times cheaper than what the property management company normally is. So even though I'm paying them a 10% on gross rents, that's all they charge me for. Everything else, there's no fees on lease up, there's no fees on maintenance, there's no upcharges on any of that because that's handled by our staff, and all we're paying is labor and materials. So it ends up being a
Nice.
tremendous amount of savings because you'll see the property management, hey, we charge you 10%, but then they charge you 1 month's rent every time they lease up the unit. Then they charge you 10% on top of everything that they charge you to go and they do. And then every time they stop
Right.
by the building is $50 here, $25 there. You get nickel and dime for every single stop. Whereas these guys, they're not going to the properties. They're managing the staff, and the staff is doing that at an hourly rate, which is significantly cheaper. So
Cool. Thank
it
you.
doesn't make sense in the beginning, but when you start vertically integrating at 200 units, this becomes almost a no-brainer. Because it's hard to bring in a manager who has managed that many units as a full-time staff member. But with a consulting firm, you get them fractionally. So you're able to split that across other people.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, great question, Mike. So, Greg, back to it. You got a son. How old is your son? How has that impacted your investing career?
Yeah, I mean, he's 7 years old. Completely changed my life and perspective on things. Teaches me things daily. Anytime I have him, and just the transformation from obviously from being born to now is incredible. But it's definitely changed me, and from the investing side of things, just I think when he was born or just before he was born, I said, this is the time to make a change in my life, and it should have been, should, but it should have been 20 years ago.
As Greg shoulds on us.
20 years ago when I started and I stopped, that's where I can see that, the transformation. He's just changed my life, so yeah.
So being a single dad, working in a prison, I mean, you don't work a light shift in the prison. I know more times than not, I have called you and been like, hey, bro, you got a minute? We got to talk about this property. And you've been like, yeah, I got a minute. I'm working a double today. And then I'm working a double tomorrow. And then I'm working a double the next day. I've probably heard you say, I'm working a double more times than I've heard you say we collected 100% occupancy or collections. Right.
Yes,
Nice,
yes. 16-hour shifts back to back to back. That was a
You
lot
got
of my
time? You got
life.
time and a half for that, or what is that?
No, basically, so my
No,
my
it's a prison, Mike.
so my
Union
schedule
too.
my schedule with my son is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I critiqued my whole schedule around being there for him and with him. So
Oh wow,
I would work my doubles, other people's shifts, to get that time off.
amazing, amazing.
Yeah,
Nice job. Nice
thank
job.
you.
Your
Mitch
son,
doesn't know
your son
anything
is
about
lucky.
that.
Son is lucky to have you as a dad. That's really awesome.
He
Yes.
absolutely is. Jackson is super cool, super respectful. He jumps on the calls. He waves at me. He knows I'm a big high five guy. So
Is that
anytime he
why?
sees me, he's like, "Hey," because he knows I'll be offended if he doesn't say hi, and it's pretty
Is that why you
serious.
Did you
invested in
did you
Jackson?
name him? Yeah, right. Did you name him Jackson because you knew in the future you would be investing there?
Yes. No.
That's pretty funny though.
Manifested. You
He was
manifested.
he was actually named after do you know the movie Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah.
Jackson.
Sons
He's
of Anarchy.
the main character. I like
Oh
that.
wow, really?
I
That's
I
cool.
just I like the name, not after him, but
That's
Right.
ironic though that you are investing in
very,
Jackson.
Right.
very,
Literally and figuratively.
yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about, do we scale up in Decatur or do we go into Jackson? One of his arguments for Jackson was, well, it's my son's name, so it will be cool that we own in Jackson.
Not
Yeah.
financial advice.
Not how you make decisions,
But when you're stuck,
but it was a good play.
Yeah.
It was.
Nice job.
So Decatur, that was a first deal for us. Do you remember what I said to you when we first took that one on?
I do. It was a beta test. That was that was a test, I think. I mean, the test started for me and you, just our relationship working together, and working getting on a call every week, seeing if we both worked well together. And then as it progressed, it was let's buy something together, and that was our test, to work out all the kinks.
And we looked at that deal and we said, okay, it's a good deal. I remember we had this conversation. We're like, it's a good deal. It's not like a home run, oh my God, life changer, but it was good enough to be a good test. It was out of state. Neither of us We're easily able to get there, so it really forced us to improve our management, improve a lot of different skills. But really locked me in. And I don't know if I've told you this, Greg, but it was because you just
Tesla.
booked the flight. You booked the flight, and you spent like 10 hours to get out there, and you basically forced my hand. I was like, well, if this kid's that dedicated, I guess we'll figure it out.
Yes. Yep.
Mm,
So,
nice. What's
Decatur,
next then? Wait, I want to know what's next.
what is next, Greg? Where are we going next?
We're going 1,000 units in Jackson. We're staying right in Jackson. Um,
Okay, so is that because I've spoken to Walter about this off camera, and he was saying that he doesn't, you know, doesn't want to be split up in so many different towns, but you're just committed to Jackson and Cleveland. Is that how that works, or?
yeah, continue to build what we have, the system that we have, in the location that we have, and then as we get really minute and good at what we're doing in that location, then we expand to different markets after that.
Nice.
And
Nice job.
to put a perspective on that, I looked at it and said, okay, 1,000 units. Greg and I can then look back and say, okay, do we feel like there's still room to expand in this market,
Mm,
or does it make sense to now diversify and take down the next market? And we're very interested. It's a great location the way we picked it. We have within 2 to 3 hours we have Birmingham. Within 2 to 3 hours we have St. Louis. Within 2 to 3 hours we have New Orleans. Within 2 to 3 hours we have Memphis.
Memphis.
So we have it's five, really, five markets that are all on our list that within 2 to 3 hours of a drive we can get to them pretty easily. Airports connect to those pretty easily. So it
amazing.
was it was very strategic, and it kind of also lucked out. We did pick Jackson because the deals just seemed to be way. I'll say right now, because the guys in Cleveland are asking me like, "Hey, which do you want to scale more, Cleveland or Jackson?" And I've been very adamant. It's all about Jackson right now, and they asked me why. I said, "Well, here's the reason I love Jackson. One, we're buying them for 25,000 a door, 16,000 a door. This most recent one, and in Cleveland we're paying 37,000 a door, and the rents are 750 in Cleveland and the rents are 750 in Jackson.
Oh, wow. Nice
The
job.
the
Wow.
buildings in Cleveland are 100, 200 years old. The buildings in Jackson were made like 40, 50 years ago. So we've got a nicer inventory. The prices are lower, but the rents are exactly the same. And so with
Amazing.
it's just this won't last forever. We know it's absolutely ridiculous. It's silly that this is happening because we have the perspective of two different markets. So it is for now. That's one of the reasons we may go beyond the 1,000 units in Jackson, just because maybe we'll sell off some as it turns around and comes back. But in the moment that it's doing this for us, we wanna capitalize.
It's awesome. Nice.
And I
That
don't
is
think it's fair. I say
very
this a lot. I don't
exciting.
think that what we do is fair. I don't think real estate's fair. I don't think the wealth that we create is fair. I don't think the fact that the banks are financing. 'Cause we had a hard time financing in Jackson. You remember, Greg? Like
Oh
we
yeah.
talked to a lot of lenders.
Yeah, we did. We went through the whole list and then came back to our did we get him through
Dominion?
yeah, did we get him through our lawyer, or did we get him? Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
So
tell the story about the lawyer. So
Roger.
Roger McKeehee,
yeah.
which now Michael Shine knows Roger because Roger
Oh,
and
he
Mike
does.
did a deal together, did a loan together.
Okay.
Now, how did we find Roger? Do you remember?
Well, you found him and you reached out to a number of closing attorneys out
15.
there. Yes. And he was the one that got back to you, I think, either the quickest or and when we flew out there, that was one of the first places that we went, and sit down and had that relationship with him and his assistant, and it's been good ever since.
Amazing.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
What they did is, so I have a rule. This is something, and I don't even know if I should share this on a podcast, but
Earmuffs.
I will do it as long as nobody steals my strategy. So
Okay.
we call up the closing attorneys. So I call 15 closing attorneys. And I ask them all to write up a lease for me. Hey, I'm buying, 100 units. I need you to write up a lease. Do you do that? If they say yes, cool. All right. And what is that going to cost? Excellent. By the way, also, do you do escrow? Of course they do escrow. Hey, would you be able to do the closing for us? Yeah, of course they do the closing for us. So I'm going to simplify this. And the point of this question and building this rapport is if I used to in the past try calling them, be like, hey, what are the lenders that you guys work with? And they hang up. So if I build the business relationship, the next time I call them, I can be like, hey, by the way, thanks for sending over the lease. So awesome. Who are 3 lenders that can close complex, large deals of this volume and price? Because we couldn't find a single lender to lend in Jackson. Not a single one would touch it. And then the ones that would not do something that was this vacant. So I explained to Roger, and Roger was like, I got 3 guys who can do this deal. Absolutely. I close with these guys all the time. This is the sort of stuff that they do. So we needed a closing attorney who actually knew his lenders and what their capacity was, which is actually kind of rare. Not all the attorneys are created equal. So that's that's where that strategy came from. But then what Greg just shared, we went and met the attorney. Like, we didn't have to. Greg, do you remember? Like, we didn't need to go to the closing attorney's office. We didn't even have this thing closed. We were just inspecting the property.
Yeah, no, that was a definitely a eye-opening experience for myself because I have never really done that before. I thought of doing that until, so all the credit to you on that one.
Okay, I'll take all the credit. That's cool. It's my strategy. If anybody steals it, I'll know where it came from.
So it goes back to no matter how good technology gets and no matter how much more we use it in our investing and in our work, relationships are still key.
Right. I agree.
It comes down to I stole the secret from Michael Shine. He'll never know I took it from him. But Mike has said this to me many times. He says, "Look, I'm the closing attorney. There's not a lot of ways for me to add value to the agents or the lenders, but they are the people who send me my business. So I always try to help them any way I can. I love to send them business. It's just, I'm not really usually the first person to get business." So I heard that and I said, wow, if one title agent, one title attorney, one lawyer likes to give people business, maybe another one does too. And that was where the idea was born. I know they need the agents and the lenders, so why don't I just kind of reverse prospect and go to them and say, who's the best? Who closes with you all the time? Who do you like more? Who gets the deals done? Who does deals of this size? And would you give me 3 referrals? Because here's the deal. If I ask for 1 referral, they'll say no. But if I say, can you give me 3? They're like, oh, well, I can do that. Because now I'm not there's no favoritism here. Now
Nice.
I'm winning. I got 3 times the amount I wanted.
That's brilliant. Nice job. That's brilliant.
It's absolutely brilliant. So nobody's allowed to steal that strategy. It's mine only. Go ahead, Greg. So
I just posted it on Facebook.
Figure out how to build your own relationships.
you do it. So we gotta wrap this up. Greg, where are you going next? What are the goals? If you were to say there's one thing, actually, before I ask this question, Mitch Jorsky, do you have a question for Greg?
I'm good actually. We covered everything that I had going on in my head, so continue.
Perfect. In that case, I always ask this question at the end of our podcast. If you go back to your 20-year-old self and give yourself 3 pieces of advice that would get you to where you are today, richer, happier, healthier, what 3 pieces of advice, the same 3 pieces of advice you'd give to your son when he's 20 years old, when he's, getting ready to move out of the house and he's going to go out and pave his own path and be his own man, what 3 pieces of advice would you give to yourself if you could go back in time to your 20-year-old self? Or to a 20-year-old who's out there right now listening to the show?
Man, that's a great question.
Putting them on the spot.
Yeah, no, I have to say this. This isn't 1, 2, or 3. This is baseline for me. And I'd say always put God first with everything that you're doing. Give without expectations, and because without God, I wouldn't be where I am today. And whatever it is that gives you your faith, not necessarily God, but practice it, believe in it, because you'll need it for your life, and just helps you make better decisions. That's the baseline for that 19-year-old or person starting out. So number 1, I would say this hits home for me now, is like, when you finally get to where you want to be in life, realize that you're not there, and be afraid of when you're getting the feeling that you've arrived somewhere, because if you're not growing, then you're dying. And for me, that's like I've hit a little peak, but that's not even close to where where I know that I can be where we can be. So that's number one. And number two,
I'm
I'd have
putting
to.
God as number one. You don't get four. You get three.
All right, that's fine.
No, number
You
two.
called it baseline as one.
I feel like the title, the headline title to number two should be "Watch out for the complacency monster."
Yeah. Number two would be for me. So this is a saying that I learned from my mentor coach from where I worked at the prison. He was an awesome leader. But he would always say this to us: sometimes you get chicken and sometimes you get feathers. Um, and for me, that just shows me the adversity, at some points in your life you're going to have, and it's that next decision that you have to make and how fast you can make it to hit your next goal. Because you're just like, is it Ed Milet? He always says you're one relationship, one person, one decision, one meeting, one book away from a completely different life. So that's number two.
You started with a baseline. I've never seen anybody do this before.
And then the third one is an easy one. Don't chase the money, chase the moments, because money's gonna follow you.
That's a good one.
And
They were all
follow.
good. Sorry, I don't mean like that. That was really good.
Last one was tagline worthy.
So I just realized that you look at Facebook, but Greg would come out on Facebook with bangers like all the time. I'm like, I didn't even know Greg at the time really, and he would just say stuff like, "Don't chase the money, chase the moments," and you'd be like, "I gotta heart this. Damn, that is amazing," or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, no, just to put a bow on it is fall in love with rejection. And I use that in all aspects of my life, whether it's a dream or a deal or a date, anything in life. So, because the right people, the right deals, and the right adventures are going to show up when you're already moving forward. So,
That's awesome.
I hear that, man. We can't all be 6'8", like whatever Mitch Jorsky is, 7'2". He doesn't get rejected. The girls are just like, please, please, Mitch, give me a shot.
Oh yes, we're gonna manifest that. I like that. We'll stick with that. I'm trying to be a baller like Greg. Greg's a formidable dude.
I
That's
thought,
the
Walter,
truth.
I thought even though you're not 6'8" or whatever, you had a.
I just had to get rich, Mike. That was my swagger.
Oh, you had a. Before you ever started doing real estate, you were how to pick up women, right?
That could have been my course. I could have taught the course.
Oh man, this is about to go off the rails.
I taught sales through here's how you pick up women. By the way, this is how sales works. My sales 101 course was like, so this is how I picked up the 6th girl in that week.
Oh my god.
So not to digress, but Greg will be at the summit this year. The summit is October 23rd to the 26th. We're aiming it at helping people build their wealth to the next level, but not just build their wealth, but actually get it to the point where it's deployed. Financial freedom is the goal. We're talking a lot about ROE, asset allocation. Greg will be there in person. Mike Shine just bought his ticket. Mitch Jorsky is still arguing with Darina about whether he's going to stay in a hotel.
I'm
or if he's gonna
sponsoring.
None of that's true. My whole
this year.
Michael Shine is
Blake
sponsoring.
Title and escrow, and
Blake
one of my
Title.
one of my VIP guests.
This is the
Titles.
first
Mr.
year.
Mitch Jaworski. There you go. Yeah.
This is the first year we're bringing in sponsors, and Mike Shine said, "Well, I'm going to be a sponsor, and that comes with 10 tickets." So,
and
Mitch
as soon as I said that to Walter, I got 62 emails, texts, and from Darina about everything I should be doing. And I said, maybe I won't.
we need your bio and your picture, and send it over now.
You gotta maximize.
You can invite
she's
these people.
just trying to help you maximize that sponsorship.
Yeah.
That's
Very
it.
nice.
So, Greg, thank you so much for jumping in. Thank you for being a part of the team. I love buying properties with you, man, and I love that you were out there bleeding. Like literally, I'm like, hey, Greg, can you get out there? You jump on a plane, you fly out, you get the job done, you fly back. Buildings are inspected.
Yeah.
I feel way more comfortable at the 76 units that we're closing, and it seems like this is almost fun now. Before, it felt like an experiment. It was a beta test. Now it's starting to feel like, okay, this is a routine. We just take down this many units. We have a system. We have a process, and the future seems very much boring, which is kind of fun. I like the idea of boring, predictable money versus the excitement of the unknown. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, this started out as something personal, but I think it actually can be a general lesson. So, Greg went on the cruise when Mel and Steve got married, and
Yep.
I've known Greg through the group, and I always thought he was a nice guy, but it was so much fun to just get to know him on a more personal level. I mean, we bumped into each other in an airport one time, we
Yeah.
talking to each other, that kind of stuff. But I would say in the general level is that when there are things like the summit, and this is not a sales pitch for the summit.
Sales pitch for Mike Shine.
Sales pitch for the summit.
Watch what he does.
But
Watch
anyway,
how he does it.
wait,
Close him, Mike.
Where's my referral code? No, anyways, but
Click my link.
really, when you go to these events, ever since COVID and we started doing Zoom, that's one level. But when you actually go and meet with the people in person, and when it's like the cruise was multiple days, the summit is multiple days. It's just Mitch and I, we go and we buy peanuts at some kiosk at the mall at the summit every year.
It's our ritual.
It
Sushi in the
deepens
mall.
Relationships. So just like Greg said earlier, you're with the realtors, these will be relationships with all three of you for the rest of my life. So yeah.
That, Mike, I'm gonna add to that because like people always wondering like, how do I get started or I don't know anyone. It's like there's your answer. Like put yourself in rooms to basically network with people that are doing what you want to do, right? And that's as small as going to your local RIA or your local real estate meetup to going to 3-day events. I mean, when I first started in real estate, I was going to like 4 like weekend events a year on top of going to like 1 or 2 meetups at minimum every month
Jake and
locally.
Gino.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jake and Gino, all of them. It's just like obviously 100 Millionaire Summit. So if you're someone that's looking to get in a room of other real estate investors, you have an opportunity. So if you're not there in October, that is on you.
Yeah, the Zoom is one level, but going to any events is just a whole nother level. You really get to like actually, I don't know if Mitch sits low in his chair, but I had only seen Mitch, and then he walks into my house for that like event, and he's like 6. I was like, what?
Me too.
Yeah.
Except I met Mitch in Boston and I forgot how tall he was. So the next time I saw him, I was like, whoa, bro, like I forgot you were this tall.
You make it like I'm that tall. I mean, come on, I only got Greg by a few inches.
No,
Yeah.
I do have to say, it was a pleasure meeting. I'm meeting and hanging out with you guys on the cruise as well, and definitely getting to know you a lot closer. And I do agree the summit does allow that to happen. That's kind of where it all started for me. And the last thing I want to say is it's been a pleasure to know and work with Walter and Dorina as business partners. And I know I don't say enough, but I definitely appreciate you both. And
That's awesome.
thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you too because you do all the work. So thank you, Greg.
Oh my God, so many
It's an
good
honor to be in business with you.
I just suddenly had a thought. We have to do the Alchemist Summit cruise now. I don't even like cruises,
I
but
like cruises, but
I think you have to do it like they do with everything else. It's a
100
cruise.
Millionaires Cruise coming
100
soon.
Millionaires cruise.
man,
Only if they have vegan.
Yeah,
like
right.
it's gonna be a 100 millionaires go to Yosemite, Yosemite
Oh,
Falls or
I'll do that
National
tomorrow.
Park, and we hike and we do
I'm
a
with it.
mastermind for 3 days.
Mastermind.
I'll do that tomorrow. Yeah. That's
Tell me
awesome.
about it.
Yeah.
I don't know about getting stuck on a cruise again, but I will absolutely. I will be
Oh,
out in
Walter,
the
if
woods
you're
and hike.
speaking like 4 days out of the 7-day cruises on a stage, you'll be like, I'm there. I'm totally there.
3-day cruise, you'll be safe.
Yeah.
3-day cruise.
That's
I was
good.
sick the whole time. So
There you are. I was
3 days
I was
is good.
borderline trying to avoid you. I'm like, he's gonna get me sick. Get away.
but best experience was actually day napping with Emerson because I was sick, he was sick, so he was taking his naps, I was taking naps.
Those
Quality
are some of the
time.
most adorable pictures. The two of you just completely crashed out. And yeah. Darina sent those.
both done.
Awesome. Yeah.
And we're both maniacal. We have a ton of energy. It's just that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that little sickness got us. But, ladies and
That's
gentlemen,
awesome.
it's been absolutely amazing hanging out with you, being able to grill Greg LeBlanc and
Yeah.
getting to hear a little bit more of Mitch and Mike's perspective on real estate investing. If you got some value out of this, like, share, and subscribe. Even if you didn't get value out of this, like, share, subscribe, put some comments below. Cheers to your success, your choice. Always work with the best. We'll see you next week.
The best. The